Industry labor agreement has a few of industries. They have agreement with the department. So if your applicant has that occupation that within the labor agreement, then you can nominate them under industry labor agreement. Currently, we have a few labor agreements ready: dairy industry, fishing industry, meat industry, Minister of Religion, on-high and pork industry, restaurant industry, advertising industry. The advertising industry, for example, it's a most recent industry, have that labor agreement with the department. And let me have a look about this because it's really new. What kind of occupation they operate? They nominate a few: advertising specialist, graphic designer, copywriter, multimedia designer, and web developer. They can nominate someone up to for 4 years or straight permanent visa. Now this is really significant because lots of occupations here, they are on the short occupation list, such as advertising specialist, graphic designer, copywriter. They all under short-term occupation list. So under the 482, normal 482, they cannot get permanent residency. But under the labor agreement, if they nominate under labor agreement, they then can access permanent residency. How do they do that? Simple. You just find out who has the labor agreement with the department and you approach that specific organization. So who has it? Alright, that's 2 organizations. They are Media Federation of Australia, FMFA, and then the Communications Council, either of them. So if your client's occupation is really about media, not communication, then you approach Media Federation of Australia and ask them to give you the endorsement. How do you do that? They have a checklist. You just need to go through that, have a look about this one. I put it on a Google bar. Simple. And let's see whether they have on-high agreement. That's it. They have advertising industry labor agreement. And the features for this agreement is 5 years and a cap of 300 visas per year, and they only endorse 300. I'm not sure they're going to use them or not. And the minimum requirement is that the company has to have at least 75 Australian citizens or permanent residents, and that work experience for temporary 3 years, for employer sponsor ENS 6 years, and they must attract minimum annual salary of 85,000. Okay, so if they meet this requirement, they can just approach this advertising industry labor agreement to ask for endorsement. They have a checklist here, fact sheet about labor agreement, and just need to provide them information. And how you provide information, generally speaking, this is really similar to sponsorship application, where you'll be provide your company's financial statement, tax returns, payroll summaries, all check to evidence about whether you have at least 75 Australian. So that's the example of one industry, advertising industry. For pork industry, they nominate a few occupations. Okay, so that nominate a few occupations and the qualification, it's so different, right? They only nominate someone who is a senior stock person, right, for 4 years. For meat industry, they have different occupations here as well. So this type of industry type labor agreement, A really similar process. You just approach whoever has the labor agreement with the department, ask them for endorsement. Once you got that endorsement, you'll provide a special code for you to use for the nomination application.